Alright, so today we are blending the TX whiskey with the 601 green. Alright, so if you guys can see that, it's a rather interesting looking cigar.
Yeah, this would be considered a figurado or a shaped cigar, figured cigar. It's tapered on both ends, kind of like a bellicoso on the one end and a little bit of a pigtail on the other. I just lit mine up a little bit ago. It's actually really tasty. It's kind of, again, a fuller body cigar like last week. Medium to full body so far. This has an Oscuro wrapper, and I'm enjoying it so far. We're pairing it with the Texas or TX whiskey. It's a blended whiskey. The blend itself is a proprietary blend, so we really don't know if it's a blend of finished bourbons, if it's a blend of straight whiskeys, if it's a blend of with some neutral grain spirit. Really don't know. It's all proprietary. What we do know is that it did win double gold in San Francisco in the spirits competition. It also got rated the #1 American spirit, new American spirit in that competition as well. So far, again, it's pretty good. Rick, do you know any more about the cigar itself?
Yes, alright, so it's a darker leather Habano wrapper. The filler is an extensively aged Cuban seed Nicaraguan long filler. So, you know, it's got those hints that the Cuban stuff would have. You're going to taste a lot of real rich chocolatey flavors in here. You're going to have a little bit of coffee in here, a undertone. You're going to get that slight tickle in the back of your throat, which means it's got a little bit of pepper to it. It's kind of got this toasty aftertaste to it also, which is kind of neat.
Almost like roasted coffee beans.
Yeah, just a little bit like
freshly roasted coffee beans.
Yeah.
A little bit of that bitterness.
Yeah, but you're also going to have a little bit of a leather flavor to it. So, this actually rated a 90-point rating. I actually looked this thing up, and the way they rate cigars is 1 to 100, okay? 100 being absolute perfect best cigar, and this rated a 90 on it. So that's not bad.
Yeah, that's not shabby at all.
You know, there's not a whole lot that can do that.
What's the price point on these cigars?
These, I believe, were sitting around $9, $9 to $10 a stick.
Oh, yeah.
So that's not bad for a nice cigar.
That's a good value for sure. Yeah, I've had a lot of Nicaraguan cigars. I'm a fan of Maduro and Oscuro wrappers. I actually kind of like Cameroon as well. I like heavier cigars. I like that spice and that fuller mouthfeel to it.
And for those of you guys who are more into the full ones, yes, you're going to like this. The guys that like the lighter ones, you're not going to like this, all right? But we're going to do a light one next week that you will like. I promise that. So the one thing, all right, these are really interesting cigars. The look of them is kind of neat, but to get past this first little bit is a little bit of a pain. I've already noticed that. It's a great cigar. I really like it, but to get it past this first little node is kind of a pain in the butt.
As far as like the way it burns?
Yeah, just to burn, to draw, all of it.
Yeah.
It's a little bit harder to get it to keep going at that point.
Yeah, it's a little bit more, it's more of a cosmetic feature than anything. It's not necessarily, the shape isn't necessarily like that specifically for flavor. I mean, you will get a little bit more of a burn at the end there because it's fatter, wider toward the end, kind of like a teardrop shape. But for the most part, it's cosmetic. It's shape, makes it stand out on the shelf a little bit. But I like it. All right, so we are about a quarter of the way down, and got past that hump on the end there, and I haven't had any issues with draw on my cigar at all. It's drawing really well, getting good bellows of smoke, very flavorful smoke, pairing really well with this whiskey. The interesting thing is, for me, at least for my palate, I'm getting a lot of vanilla, toffee, caramel flavors.
I tell you what, I'm finding it's really bringing out the flavors of this whiskey. The cigar, it's a little bit more peppery than I normally go for. But I'll tell you what, man, you put it with this, and I don't even taste the pepper in here. And I'm really bringing out a lot of flavors in the whiskey because, when we first poured it and I took my sip, I wasn't really impressed with the whiskey. However, give it a few minutes in the ice, took a couple drags off my cigar, took a drink of my whiskey again, and let me tell you, it changed it immensely. It was a wonderful flavor at that point.
Yeah, like I said, we really don't know what the blend is on this whiskey or what it's made up of. It's not a bourbon, and so we know by that it doesn't follow the bourbon laws and regulation for the most part. So, really, it's kind of a guessing game as to what kind of whiskey is in there. If it's more wheat or if it's more corn or what kind of mash build it is. It's a blend of whiskeys. So it's really it's a unique item. It's done in a way that's very similar to Canadian whiskey, as far as I can tell. Canadian whiskey, you can blend finished whiskeys, and you can also blend a Nutri-Grain spirit. You can flavor them. You can do a lot of stuff. You can add artificial color to a blended Canadian whiskey that you can't do with a bourbon or a Scotch, or even an Irish whiskey. And so one famous Canadian whiskey would be Crown Royal. That's a blended whiskey as well. And so this seems to follow, at least from the taste profile and the way it's drinking, kind of seems to follow more of that direction than it does like a blended Scotch, in my opinion.
I got to tell you, one of the things that interested me was the price point on this. That bottle right there cost me $43. That's not a bad price for a good whiskey.
Yeah, it is good, regardless of what's in it.
Yeah.
It is good.
Right. So if you guys will notice on my cigar right here, it is burning really slow on one end, but it's burning really fast on the other end, okay? If you actually go around, you can see. I just had to actually take the lighter and light it on the side that's not burning very well. There's a couple things that can cause that. One is the moisture of your humidor can actually cause that. That's one good reason why you should always rotate your cigars while they're in your humidor. Can you think of some other stuff that'll do it?
Yeah. Well, if there's a stem, it could be in the process, the rolling process when they roll the cigars. Oftentimes in the binder, there's more stems in the binder than you'll find in your wrapper, and so underneath that wrapper sometimes there'll be a big stem, and it'll burn along the edges, along that stem, that vertical stem. And so it varies. You kind of have to look at it and see how you can correct it. There's different ways to correct it. One is to add moisture to the end that is burning faster, so to slow down the burn. If that's not helping, then you might want to, like Rick just did, burn a little bit faster with your torch. Just hit it slightly for the area that's burning slower, just to get it to catch up. If it's continuing to burn like that, you'll be able to identify if it's a stem. If it's starting to tunnel, and you're getting a little bit of tunneling in yours as well, and tunneling is basically when the center burns more than the exterior, and you get like a little bit of a hole, like a tunnel, in the center of your cigar. And what that basically means that your wrapper and your binder has more moisture than your filler, and so it's not evenly dispersed, your moisture in that cigar. And so again, that goes back to checking your humidor, rotating your cigars. How long has it been in that humidor? When you purchase it right out of the store and it's doing that, then it could be just that they just got that box in and put it on the shelf. So it just varies. When it starts to tunnel like that, you really can't do too much other than just light it some more. I don't recommend doing that too much because you're just burning ash at that point. And when you're burning ash, you're going to be bringing in through the draw, you're bringing in carbon, and you're going to start getting a little bit of a cough if you do that too often. What I always recommend people to do, or at least what I do when that happens to me, is I'll just take a straight cutter, cut that end off of it, and then just relight the cigar. basically start off at fresh tobacco again, cut all the ash off, relight it, and then continue smoking your cigar at that point. So it just varies from the way it's burning and what it could possibly be.
Right, so here we are at the end. Final thoughts. What do you think?
It was a pretty good cigar. Started off well. Started off kind of medium body, got a little bit fuller body, stronger as it got toward the end there. I got about 2/3 of the way through and it started getting bitter. So I went ahead and put mine out. It did pair well with the whiskey. Like I said before, to me, throughout the entire cigar, every time I took a sip of that whiskey, it almost tastes like it was vanilla flavored whiskey. Just those flavors that they describe just popped.
It really does bring out a lot of the flavor in the whiskey. Honestly, it's a great pairing. For this cigar, I'm having a little bit of an issue with the run in it. It keeps burning down too far. It's burning down here and then up here.
Yeah, you got about a 1/2 inch difference between side to side.
Yeah. So that always annoys the crap out of me. But, however, you're going to find that in different places. So what would you rate the draw on it?
I had no problem with the draw, so I would say it's about an 8 on the draw. Easy draw, quite a bit of smoke.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with an 8 on the draw too. The very beginning of it is a little bit more of a pain, but then it gets better. As soon as it gets done with that first little nub, it starts to really open up and you can really get the flavors going in it. The look of this thing, I think it's beautiful, honestly. I would definitely give this an 8 on the look too.
Yeah, I think that the wrapper had a nice oily sheen to it. I think the shape of the roll, that looks like it's rolled very consistent, and I like that shape. I like the shapes of the cigars because you can appreciate the effort that goes into, especially now that we're kind of trying to rolling our own cigars here and there. The effort involved in rolling a figurado, a shaped cigar, is significantly more than just a straight-sided cigar.
Yeah. The burn on mine, I'm going to give it a 5.
Yeah.
Only because I'm having an issue with mine.
Yeah, mine didn't have any issues. I'd give it a solid 7, 8. No problems.
The aroma, it smells beautiful. Honestly, in here, in this little room that we've got, it smells wonderful. So I'm going to give it a solid 8.
Yeah, very aromatic cigar. Pleasing. It's not skunky by any means. I definitely give it a good 8 too.
Taste.
Taste-wise, I liked it. But again, I think I liked it more because of the pairing, because I was getting some of the sweetness out of the whiskey to offset the spiciness out of the cigar. And, if I had the cigar on its own, I'd probably give it about a 7, 8. Paired together, it's more of a strong 8.
Yeah, paired together, I'm going to give it a nice solid 8. On its own, I'm going to give it a 7, only because it's got a little more pepper than I really like. So it hits in the back of the throat just a little bit harder than I really want it to. Yeah. Overall, I would give this cigar a 7 in total. The whiskey, I would gladly give a 7 also. Together, I'm going to give it a solid 8.5, 9.
I'm kind of in the same boat. I think the cigar is a good 7. It's a good value for about $9. It's about a $9 cigar. Fuller to medium to fuller body cigar, a little bit of spice to it. The whiskey itself, I'm kind of a whiskey snob. To me, it tastes like it tastes like a blended whiskey, and I like it. It's drinkable. It's very casual. So I would probably put it as maybe a 7, something that, if you're looking for a good value and a good whiskey, it's definitely doable. If you're looking for premium and complexity, it's probably not going to be that for you.
All right. So, from us here at Sip and a Smoke, cheers.
Cheers.
And we'll see you guys later.
See ya.